1,
2,
3,
4.
Monster movie.
Fun time, go! Monster movie.
Fun time, go. Monster
Movie.
Fun time.
Go!
Monster movie. Fun time, go.
With Precious D and Honeybee.
Fun time, go!
Pausa rapidinho agora para falar de dica de ouro para os papais e mamães. Depois de experimentar a nova Hug Supreme Care Fralda Roupinha, tudo ficou ainda melhor para o meu filho. É a única com canais em X que se adaptam aos movimentos, com 2 vezes proteção noturna e cintura elástica que se adapta ao corpinho do bebê, além de ser super fácil de colocar e tirar. Praticidade pura. Então guarda essa dica. Nova Hug Supreme Care Fralda Roupinha. Bebê, estamos juntos nessa, mais do que nunca. Agora curta seu podcast.
Hello, can you hear me? Hey. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Nice.
Folks, I finally caught the COVID.
Oh man, I can hear it in your
So-
little baby voice.
So we are recording today on our phones, and because I'm isolating in an undisclosed location, and I didn't want to drag all my gear, and I'm not sure I even have Wi-Fi here anyway. So this episode will not be edited at all.
Getting it raw, baby.
Apparently, when I try to switch to the other screen, it times out. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
I lost you for a while there, though.
Oh, man. Okay, folks, we're doing our best here. I will edit this if I can at all, but probably not. So today we're talking about Mighty Joe Young from 1998.
Woo!
Honeybee, are you near your computer? Can you pull up the stats?
Sure can.
When I try to switch on my phone, it seems to make the recording stop.
Oh no. Can you hear me right now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right. Mighty Joe Young off of Wikipedia. Thank you, Wikipedia. The cast is Bill Paxton, Charlize Theron.
Ooh.
Let's see. Raid Serbaziza? I am not sure. Naveen Andrews, Regina King, Peter Firth, Linda Pearl, and David Paymer.
And
Those are our
Vern
cast.
Troyer played the young Joe Young, baby Joe Young.
Aww.
So
Very nice. Let's see what else we got here. It is in color. The budget was 90 million and the box office was 50.6 million. Oh no. Ouch. Also, it is 114 minutes. That sucks. I'm really surprised to hear that. That makes me so sad.
Yeah, I don't know why it bombed like that.
Seriously.
I thought it was perfectly fine.
Oh my gosh. I thought it was
Already.
incredible. Of course, I do remember this movie from, my childhood, and I thought it was incredible then. I thought it was incredible now. Oh my gosh, it made me cry like 17 times. It's so emotional.
I've never actually seen this version before, so it's awesome.
I cried. I cried my little baby eyes out. And this is also based on the story by Marion C. Cooper. I did not say that when I was saying the stats, but
Uh,
what are your
Charlize
initial
Theron.
thoughts? You'd never seen this?
No, no, I haven't. Charlize
Oh.
Theron looks so young that she doesn't look finished yet.
Character loading.
Yeah, I'm like, that's not quite Charlize Theron. It needs to bake for a few more minutes.
Oh my gosh, that's
She just
hilarious.
didn't quite look like herself. Maybe it was the hair. I don't know.
Ugh, she is so beautiful.
And
Golly.
do you see in the cast list there? It might not be on the Wikipedia. Do you
What?
see Elegant Lady at Party and
Let's
Gentleman at Party? I think.
let's see. Oh, I do. Ray Harryhausen, beer, 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 was the gentleman at the party, and Terry Moore as
Terry
elegant
Moore.
woman at party.
Terry Terry Moore was the original Jill. Jill? Is it Jill Young?
Oh, yeah, it is Jill.
So as soon as that scene happened, I stopped it, and because I could just tell by the way they were framing those two characters that that was a
Yeah.
cameo. Oh, is that the original Jill? And then I saw that the guy was Harryhausen. I was like, oh fuck yeah,
Hell
that's
yeah,
awesome.
baby. Oh my gosh, so good. So good. Oh, okay, let's see here. Let me get to the plot. All right. Plot from Wikipedia, of course. Thanks, Wikipedia. As a child, Jill Young and her mother, Ruth Young, a primatologist, observe and study mountain gorillas in the, is it Pangani Mountains
I
in
guess.
Central Africa, including an infant gorilla whom Jill named Joe and his mother. One evening, a group of poachers led by Andre Strasser storm the mountains, and Quelly, Ruth's friend, alerts her to the men as she is putting Jill to bed.
Nothing
Oh,
good ever
God.
comes from a guy's named Strasser.
Nothing.
The first
It
clue
is.
that he's a bad, that his name is Strasser.
Ruth heads into the mountains and Jill follows shortly afterwards. Strasser shoots and kills both Joe and Jill's mothers. And when he tries to capture Joe, he bites off his trigger finger and thumb, causing him to swear revenge on the little gorilla. Before Ruth dies, she has Jill promise to protect Joe. Okay, so this part in the movie is very much like something I could compare it to is like the cartoon Up, where they give you this whole
Uh,
story and they have you crying in the first 15 minutes of the movie and then the movie starts. You know what I
right.
mean?
Uh,
Oh gosh. This is so it's just so heartbreaking. I did think it was really strange though also when the mother is shot and she's dying and Jill is like, "Oh, mom," that she's like, "You gotta take care of Joe. Take care of Joe." Because I'm like, "Really? Those are your last words? Like, you're dying and you know it, and your daughter." I mean, like, I get it as far as, like, the movie goes, but I was just like, "Come on, tell her you love her for fuck's sake." But
yeah.
also, before this, we kinda see, Jill and her mother, in the jungle. They're like observing the gorillas, and Jill runs up and she's like playing with Joe, and her mom's like, "That's not Joe. He's too big to be Joe. Joe's only 6 months old. That's so and so." And then it turns out that she was right, and we find that out,
Yeah.
within the few minutes. But we never really know why Joe is big or why he's like this extraordinary gorilla. There's never any
I
backstory to
think
like how he got that way.
somebody mentions in passing. that it's a rare mutation that happens every certain number of generations. Somebody
I guess I missed that.
closure later mentions it, but
Mm, okay.
so this happened. Excuse me. This happened before, and will happen again. I can't remember how many generations they said,
Wow.
but
I totally missed that.
that's more than we got from the original movie. They didn't tell us anything. And remember, now in this movie, he's living with other gorillas, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he seems to have mutated. But in the original, two guys were just carrying him along, and we don't know where they came from and how they got him. And, remember, it was my theory that he had been stolen from Skull Island. So,
Mm-hmm.
but that doesn't seem to be the case in this
Yeah.
movie. But continue.
12 years later, Joe has now grown to a height of 15 feet tall and weighing 2,000 pounds. As a result, other gorillas will not accept him, and he is still vulnerable to poachers. Greg O'Hara, a wildlife refugee director working at an animal conservatory in Los Angeles, convinces Jill that they would be safer if they were relocated there. George
He
O'Hara,
is
he's
very wrong.
chasing gorillas and he's chasing twisters.
Yes, he is very wrong about this.
Oh yeah, this is so sad. I did like how he was instead of being like a bar owner or whatever, he
Uh,
was an actual like animal, like a
oh
wildlife
yeah,
conservatory guy, you know? I kind of like that like change.
he wasn't trying to put on a show. Like,
Right.
uh,
Yeah. I really appreciated that. Let's see.
yeah,
At the
made more sense.
What's that?
I said it made more sense.
Yeah, totally. It really did. Also, can we talk about the skeezy dudes that are hired in the beginning to help him get the sample from the is it a cheetah?
Yeah,
And
he's
they're
just taking blood from animals,
mm-hmm.
and yeah,
Yeah.
hire some really shady guys.
Yeah, those guys, that whole like scene of them, chasing Joe and like discussing the money and all of the things. I really thought that that guy was going to be one of the bad guys or like more involved in the movie. I was super surprised that he was just like the skeezy guy in the beginning and then nothing else. But it was
Right.
good. It was good. I liked it. At the conservatory, the trio win the hearts of the refugee staff who put Jill in charge of Joe. Dang. So there's like a lot of things here that we kind of miss out with like O'Hara chasing Joe and um Jill, being like, "Get the fuck out of here!" And then also the guy who was her mom's friend, who kind of warned them about the poachers in the beginning, has
Yeah,
kind of become like Jill's dad, like in a way.
yeah.
Because when Greg is like, "Oh, a beautiful woman saved me," he's like, "Get out of this forest, you little shit!" He kind of like has that like dad instinct. But then whenever he's telling Jill about it, he's like, "Well, that man said that a beautiful woman saved him," and she's like, "Fuck that guy, get him out of here." Anyways, let's see. Jill meets Strasser, who now runs a fraudulent animal preserve in Botswana, while secretly selling animal organs on the black market, and is eager for revenge after seeing Joe featured on a news report. At first, Jill does not recognize him since his right hand is concealed in his coat pocket. Strasser attempts to convince Jill that Joe would be better off in his wildlife refuge back in Africa. During a gala, Strasser's henchman, Garth, uses a poacher's noisemaker to scare Joe into a frenzy. Joe trashes the gala with the intention of attacking Strasser, but is captured and imprisoned in a concrete bunker. Oh man, okay. That's so funny that the henchman's name is Garth. I feel like that is like a henchman name if I've ever heard one.
That guy has an interesting
He does, but I feel like, oh my gosh, it's so late. Like when he does the
Yeah.
change, I'm like, really? Now? Like, what the fuck, Garth? Get it together,
I mean,
Garth.
I don't want I don't want to get too far ahead, but basically he's like, hey, animals is one thing, but people was people are different. People are something different. Not doing that.
Yeah. I also this like scene that happens between Strasser and Jill where he like kind of is like, I knew your mother. I was a friend of your mother's. It's like you slimy motherfucker because we all know that he killed her mother. Her mother gets shot
Yeah,
trying to stop these poachers and trying to save these gorillas. And the whole time, Jill wasn't supposed to be there, but she was. And she kind of like hears it slash sees these things happen. Like she sees Joe bite this dude's hand off. Not his hand, his finger, his trigger finger, his pointy finger, and his thumb.
yeah,
But he kind of like plays on her emotions, like because right now, first of all, Garth goes up to Joe's enclosure and like shakes his little poacher noisemaker, which instantly Joe remembers and starts freaking the fuck out. And Jill's trying to tell everyone, all these people, like, we don't need to do this gala tonight because Joe's not himself. Joe's not himself. And
yeah.
so she's kind of in this vulnerable spot, and this Strasser slime ball like comes up to her and it's like, I knew your mother. I just wanted to, pitch that I could give Joe a better life. He could be at my, you know, um, conservatory place, animal preserve place. And it's just so slimy and so God, I like my blood was boiling because she's so innocent and sweet. Like she's been raised in Africa. She's lived in Africa this whole time. She's never seen the city. Like when they're driving into LA, she's like, "How do you this is LA, huh? Like how do you know what's what? Everything looks alike." Like she's never been in a city. She's never been like in like huge social situations like this. And he really takes advantage of that. It pissed me off. Made me so mad. He is such a sleaze.
Yeah. Also, I think the idea of getting revenge against an animal is kind of dumb.
It's very Captain Hook. Like, you ate
Yeah,
my
yeah,
hand. I'm gonna
exactly,
hunt you for the rest of my life.
exactly. Because the animal doesn't know or care. Part of getting
Yeah.
that the person knows, hey, I'm paying you back for what you did to me. Because revenge is no good if the person doesn't know that it's revenge is happening.
Right.
So this animal Z's not going to give a shit. It's just, it's just dumb.
It
Dumb.
is dumb. I laughed really hard when Joe is like trashing the party and like picks up the wrong dude and like he picks him up and looks at him like, and he's like, ah shit, this isn't the right dude. Like just chucks him.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, classic. So classic. Okay. Also, I think something important to say about like the relationship between Jill and Joe is like she's
Uh,
the only person who can calm him down or who like knows him. She knows him so well. They grew up together because her mother's dying like last dying words were you have to protect Joe instead of I love you, I'm really sorry. Um that you have to grow up without a mom too. But so, they like play games, like they play hide and seek, and she knows him and she can calm him down. And she, bringing him to California, one of the stipulations was, I'm in charge of Joe. I get to make these decisions. But then, of course, we run into the like typical greed of, oh, we have this thing that we've discovered. We have to exploit it. And, you've seen the
right.
movies. Classic
Yeah.
shit. When Jill discovers that Joe may be euthanized as he is perceived as a danger to the public, she accepts Strasser's offer. She and the refuge staff smuggle Joe out in a truck, still not knowing Strasser's true colors. Before their
Oh, let's talk about
departure,
that.
all right,
The um, the guy that runs the refuge.
Harry.
I love that actor.
Oh, same.
He's been he's been in a million things. You guys, you've
Mm-hmm.
seen him, and he's been bureaucratic, paper pushing dum dum. There's a scene though where he thinks Joe's freaking out and going to attack him, but he's just trying to play hide and seek with him.
Yeah, oh my gosh, so funny.
And then at one point he's acting like, oh, they're going to euthanize Joe. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm sorry. But then we see that he helps them sneak him out later on. So I really like that.
Yeah, it was nice. David Paymer is the actor's name.
Yeah, yeah. He's one of those guys.
Yeah, it was good. I was kind of like his help was a little underwhelming. Like they're already putting him in the truck, and he's like, "Don't worry, the guard at the front won't be there. Someone called
Oh
him
yeah.
away on important business." And I'm like, "Really? Come on, you could have done better than that." But right. At least you did something. Before their departure, Greg, who has fallen in love with Jill, kisses her goodbye. Oh my gosh, this reminds me. So you know the like quote unquote date that they go on, like before the party,
Uh-huh.
they're like walking under the dock, like looking at the ocean. There's this guy on the dock who's like playing a saxophone, and there's this
Yeah.
couple making out next to the guy playing the saxophone. And you wouldn't think that's important, and really it's not. But the same couple is making out at the fair.
I did not notice that.
I was like, oh my gosh, that's the same people. These people just make out all over LA.
That's their thing.
It was so funny. Okay, anyways, let's see. Before their departure, Greg, who has fallen in love with Jill, kisses her goodbye. Shortly after Jill leaves, the maintenance workers come in with the poacher's noisemaker that they found while cleaning up the gala, making Greg realize Jill and Joe are in danger, and he drives after them. I like those two guys, the maintenance workers. They're kind of like the silly,
Yeah.
goofy stoner guys. I really liked
Yeah.
them, and I really liked Cecily too. I thought she was
Oh,
great. I just
yeah.
loved her character.
What's her name? She's somebody. She's done a lot of stuff.
Yeah, let's see. Her
Regina
Regina King.
King. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
She's
just
like
loved her character.
surprising number of Academy Award winners and award nominees in this movie. So I think Charlize Theron's one of them. And I think even our guy, what's his name, Harry. I think he's been nominated or won things, like supporting things. But one of those two guys you're talking about, I forget his name, is he was on Boston Legal, and he was
really?
one of my favorite shows that only lasted one season, The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr. He was the, I guess, slightly rounder faced guy. I think he had something on his head.
Like a hat?
Yeah, like a do-rag or a hat or something. Backwards cap or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway.
Let's see. I lost where I was. Okay, on the way to the airport, Jill notices the half glove covering Strasser's missing fingers and recognizes him. We get this little flashback of him because he says the word monstruel, or something like that, which means monster. And she kind of has this flashback of seeing Joe like literally bite his fingers off and realizes that he killed her mother. She fights Strasser and Garth and jumps from the truck onto Hollywood Boulevard, leading to several automobile accidents. Joe sees her and tilts the truck over onto its side and flees, wreaking havoc in the Hollywood city and being chased by helicopters before arriving at a carnival at the Santa Monica Pier, where we see the two snoggers sucking face again.
I guess it's the same pier. They just moved up to the carnival.
Yeah, yeah. Greg finds Jill, who tells him of Strasser's intentions and her history with him. They track Joe to the carnival where he is playfully wreaking havoc.
Yes,
Strasser
he thinks
determined.
the searchlight. He thinks the searchlight is Jill's flashlight.
Yeah, which we see throughout the movie Jill like using her flashlight to do the like typical kaiju thing, which is like, look over here, come to the light. Or get away from here, get away from the light. Depending on what you need for whatever scene, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see. Strasser, determined to prevent Jill from exposing him, arrives and attempts to shoot her. This is where Garth kind of like is like, "Hey, man, you're nothing but a murderer."
Yeah.
But Garth, appalled at Strasser's ruthlessness, turns against him and shoves the gun away from Jill, causing Strasser to misfire at a spotlight, which starts a fire that quickly spreads to many game stands and the Ferris wheel. Greg helps evacuate its riders, but the wheel breaks down, leaving a young boy named Jason stranded at the top. After knocking
I
Garth
thought this.
unconscious.
I thought this was funny that it's like Greg's job to get people off the Ferris wheel rather than people that actually work. He just comes in and sort of says, "Hey, let's get them off while it's moving. Come on, I'll help you do this and that." And I'm like, dude, what? Not qualified for this.
Oh man, this guy, he just makes me laugh so hard. Like I just can't not see. Like sometimes when an actor is just like doing an amazing job, you forget who they are, even though you've seen them in like 17 different movies. This guy, I could never forget who he was. It was just like, it's the guy from Twister.
Yeah, he's also the guy from Aliens and from
Yeah,
True Lies.
that's all I
He
see
is
is just him
sadly, he is
chasing
no.
tornadoes.
He has left us. I'm sorry to say.
Let's see. Greg helps evacuate its riders, but the wheel breaks down. Oh yeah, okay. After not okay, got down to unable to grip the wire due to his missing fingers, Strasser falls onto a transformer below and is killed by electrocution. Joe actually, he throws Strasser onto the power lines. As soon as he throws him onto the power lines too, and the power lines start, I was just like, bingo, because got those power lines in there, baby.
Yep.
But also then Jill starts screaming like, Joe just killed Strasser, we gotta get out of here. She literally says that, Joe just killed him, we gotta get out of here. As police and firefighters converge on the scene, Joe notices Jason at the top of the burning Ferris wheel, pleading for help, and starts to climb it. Jill convinces readying officers not to shoot Joe as he is trying to save the child. We know this officer too. Like the main officer is like a character that we know, or an actor that we know really well too. Who is
Yeah, he
it?
shows up at the end of this one scene, but he used to be in Grounded for Life, which Donald Logue, who we mentioned in our Ghost Rider episode, played. So this guy, the cop, plays Donald Logue's father in Grounded for Life, and he's in a bunch of other stuff. He's a
in a bunch of shit.
mustachy guy.
Yeah, he looks the same. Like he looks the same in every single, like he never ages, I feel like.
Yeah.
He just always looks like that guy. After grabbing Jason, the Ferris wheel collapses, but Joe jumps off and lands clear of the burning wheel, the boy unhurt. Joe is knocked unconscious. I really thought he was dead. And I've seen this movie so many times as a kid, but I was like, this movie made me cry so much. This movie is so emotional.
The movie makes you think that he might be dead for a minute.
Yeah, I was like, jump up and down on his heart, Jill. Jump up and down on his heart.
In the then they reveal later in the home movie that they sent that Joe is still alive, but they let you think.
Yeah, he soon awakens, and Jill mentions that they need to raise money to open a reserve for him. Jason donates some change to Jill after hearing this, prompting nearby civilians to contribute. I was crying so hard.
Yeah.
Oh
mean,
my god.
it's so cheesy and manipulative, but it totally works.
It's so good. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh. Joe is
the
returned to
cop
you.
instead of arresting everybody, the cop gives them some money.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like that's why they had to put Jason on the top of the Ferris wheel, because there were all these lawsuits and all this shit from Joe hurting all these people at the gala, because he was trying to get the fucking douchey bad guy. And then so they're like, okay, well, we gotta throw a kid in here that he can save so that he's the good guy again, and we can all,
Yeah,
forget
in
all
the
the.
original, like they just happened to pass a burning orphanage in the original. Not directly. This movie did a little better job of connecting the fire to what was going on in the rest of the
Yeah,
movie.
yeah, for
In
sure.
the original, they're just like, oh look, a burning orphanage. This will rehabilitate Joe's image. Save that orphan.
He's a good guy, don't you see? He saved the kids. Joe is returned to Uganda, where Jill and Greg open the Joe Young Reserve. Finally free, Joe runs off into the jungle. Yay! Oh my goodness.
So this is mostly with a guy in a suit and
Mm-hmm.
a little bit of CGI for some of the jumping and running stuff.
Yeah.
And then there was like a full size thing that Charlize could curl up with.
Yeah, we see like the
But
just
I
like the
thought they,
random hand every now and
yeah,
then.
but I thought they did a really good job of blending all of that together.
Such a good job. They did such a good job with blending that all together and with, the kind of making Joe's face animated. There's so many times where we see like just his eyes, and his eyes are just so ugh, it's just like, looking into an animal's eyes and you just see that like love and that intelligence, and it's just like, it just kills me inside. I almost could not handle this movie. I'm not gonna lie. It was just so good, and I remember loving this movie as a kid, but of course, because I don't know, I have just like I don't know, I forget things. I forget this like the part. It was just like watching it for the first time. It was and it wasn't. Like I didn't remember certain things, and then there were certain things that I did remember and that I loved, and it was so nostalgic for me. I was so happy to watch it. Ugh, I cried like so many times, and I was like, I don't know if I can make it through this whole movie.
Oh,
It felt so emotional in comparison to any other like movie, like especially like the Kong movies or the original Mighty Joe Young movie that we saw. There was just so much more emotion in this one, don't you think? Or was it just me because I was like 7 years old watching this?
it's a little bit you, but not completely.
Okay, good.
It's well done. It's good. It's good.
It's
So,
so good.
well, gosh, do we even have to ask? What are you going to rate this movie?
You already know, baby. This movie gets 5 stars from me. I highly recommend it. It's so good. It is a tear jerker. And he looks so good. Everything looks really good. Everything is well done in this movie.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and give it 5 as well.
Woo! Yeah. It was so good. I can't believe that it didn't even make half or maybe a little over half of the budget.
Yeah.
What a
It's on
flop.
folks, if you want to watch it now. Uh, I don't know if it's available to buy or rent other places, but it is on Disney Plus if you have Disney Plus. You can
Oh, it's so good. I also, I was a little bit surprised that he wasn't bigger. I don't know if I just like thought he was bigger because everyone else, all the other, kaiju that we have are
Joe,
bigger. Like at one point, even someone says like he's the size of 3 men, and I'm like, really? That's it? Just three?
I mean, I think Joe I think the original Joe was smaller than Kong.
Yeah.
Kong has slowly gotten larger over time.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think this Joe might have been a little bit bigger than the other Joe. Wasn't the other one like 12 feet instead of 15?
Maybe so. I don't know.
It's been a while. I don't remember for sure.
Yeah, it has been a while. If you haven't listened to that episode, go and listen to it. I think what was that? That was like what, the 40s? The original Mighty Joe Young?
Yeah, late 40s, early 50s, something like that.
Let's see. It was 49,
That's
1949.
so right on the edge there.
Yeah. Ugh, so good, you guys. Watch it. Go and watch it.
I guess that'll wrap it up for today. Next week, we will be back with Rebirth of Mothra 3, which is the end of that little series, little trilogy.
Your girl is excited.
I think that one's available on Pluto.
Yeah, I think so.
You can also buy it and rent it on Voodoo and other places like that. So until then, I have been Precious D, and
And
I
I.
am COVID.
Oh no, my poor little Rona. You poor little Rona. Ugh. I have been Honeybee, and I love all of you.
Remember to keep calm and take shelter in basements.
And please don't misuse science.
We won't see you, but you will hear us next time on Monster Movie Fun Time Go.
You've been listening to Monster Movie Fun Time Go. If you enjoyed the show, please rate and review us on your podcasting platform of choice. Our theme song is by the Texicano Folk Rock Punk featuring Lita Lopez. You can support the show, find links to our social media, and even leave us a voice message at anchor.fm/MNFTG.